Have you ever felt misunderstood or like you weren't expressing yourself or you weren't your true self and actually you didn't feel so good about yourself and maybe it's possibly impacted on your relationship with yourself? Well, today I'm going to talk about why miscommunication with yourself and or others can be damaging to your self-esteem and what you can do about it. And if you stay right until the end, I have an extra point that you'll want to stick around for as well. I was thinking about this the other day, and I was just on reflection, doing a little bit of journaling, or I was sitting to myself in silence. I can't remember exactly. Anyway, I wrote it down and knew I had to talk about it today. And I was thinking about times as a person who works in sales, who's worked in project management, who's dated and just gone through life experiences. I was just reflecting on this and other situations, personal and professional. I was thinking about when I had been truthful with myself and all others, and when I hadn't. Now, we don't. I believe we don't intentionally lie to people. Well, some people unfortunately don't have as much integrity and do lie to people deliberately. I believe I've personally lied a lot more than I realized, or not told the whole truth, because I didn't want to hurt someone's feelings, or I didn't want to get into a disagreement, didn't want to get disapproved or get rejected by someone. And actually what I've discovered over time, and we can talk about it now, you could be listening now, and in the moment it's very, very hard sometimes to say the absolute honest truth. And I know that working in sales you sometimes have to, because people come out of their fears and all sorts of things, and you have to call them out for them. People don't like being called out for their fears because that triggers them as well, and then we get this feeling of rejection. And I'm not just talking about sales, I mean generally, right? And I've realized it's actually been quite damaging to me when I've not spoken truly how I felt. And actually it's damaged relationship dating situations as well I've been through by not fully speaking my truth. Now, on the other flip side, when I've been honest, even though maybe it's caused a little bit of a heated argument, I felt really, really good afterwards, right? Sometimes it's a bit like uncomfortable when you're getting that someone doesn't like what you say. Yet, for me, I'd rather tell the truth and how I'm feeling, obviously using a bit of common sense. Don't go and share all your secrets to the world or anything. That's not what we're saying. But talking more from your heart and the honest truth. When I don't do that, I find it really damaging to myself. And the other day, I was, I've had it a few times. I was on a call with someone and you get the usual thing of people get a little bit fearful about money, even though it's a very tiny percentage of investing into themselves for the future. And it's something they genuinely want. I'd never, ever sell someone something that they didn't want or wasn't right for them. I 100% go through really understanding them. I know there's a lot of sales out there which out of integrity, it's all about grabbing money. I've said, no, this isn't right for you many, many times. And I could tell someone's fears were coming up. They're like, I was going to do it later. I don't think I've got the money, but I really want to do this, right? And I've been there myself, and I knew it was not from a place of truth. It was from a place of fear. And I really, really challenged them. I in a kind, loving way, I went, look, this is your fears coming out. And I've had to do it recently. The more I've grown in leadership roles and things like that, you have to call out the truth at times. And that starts with me calling out the truth for myself, because I'm going to get into bad habits. And the beauty is I have coaches and mentors as well who call me out on that as well. Now, actually, when I'm truthful, no matter what the outcome, I feel so much more in line with trusting myself, because I'm living from my truth, from my heart. And sometimes if you want to be a great leader, or you want to progress in life, you have to say what's right, not what you want someone to hear just to please them. And unfortunately, we're so scared of rejection. But what I've realized is chances are you're going to get rejected for not being the true you. And you're going to get rejected by you for not being the true you. And it's really damaging, I found, to my mental health when I'm not true to me. Like, even if people don't like what I'm going to say. Okay? And I'll ask you this: how does it help you when you hold things in that you want to really be saying and really want to be communicating? Well, if you're anything like me, it's really, really hurt my mental health when I haven't shared. So here's a bit of guidance I want to share with you. The first one: know your boundaries. Know what it is that is like a definite yes for you and a definite no for you. Because sometimes we're like, yeah, maybe maybe I should have said something, and maybe I shouldn't. Well, not all the time. You're not going to encounter for every situation writing it down of your life. But if you know what's a clear yes and a clear no in your life that you're going to stand up for and what you're not, then that's going to give you a little bit more guidelines. Maybe just write down a few. So, for example, for me, I know that I can tolerate a bit of people maybe on Zoom and things like that. Maybe talking over me, but not a malicious way, but maybe like we're both speaking, there's a little bit of a pattern interrupt, or maybe there's a bit of lag, and then we're both speaking. I'm okay to, let them say something as long as I'm going to have my input and say into things because I want to value other people. Now, if someone keeps cutting me off several times and then they speak over me, that's when I speak up. I'm not happy about that. Any form of like, what's the word I'm looking for? Disrespect, that's the word, completely went from my mind then, I am standing for, right? Anyone who attacks my integrity and says like, I'm not looking after their best interests when I am, I don't appreciate that. That's crossing my boundaries. If someone's saying, I'm out of integrity, I've had that many times and I will challenge people on that. Now, at the end of the day, what they believe is what they believe, but often I think it's fear driven. So if anyone ever attacks my integrity or like says I'm not after their best intentions, then that's when I get funny as well. So it's about knowing what your boundaries. Now, there's one or two things like that might just like slightly irritate me. Let's be totally honest. When someone's maybe murmuring a little bit and you can't quite hear them, that annoys me. I like people speaking up a little bit more so I can hear them. But like that's not a big thing for me. I wouldn't necessarily like challenge someone massively on it. But if they kept like saying something and then trying to repeat themselves, that's when I would challenge them. So it's really about knowing what are your boundaries, what's like a thing that you would challenge on what's not. All right. Maybe just write down a few so it's not overly complicated, right? The next one, spend time to connect with you. Spend time to connect with you so you can really communicate what's important to you. Often we don't even know what's right for us and what's wrong for us, what our boundaries are, because we don't spend enough time connecting with us. So I spend like 30 to 60 minutes every morning just connecting with myself, maybe doing a bit of journaling, working through some things that maybe in my body I felt a bit stressed, a bit angry about, and I want to explore that because then that allows me to connect with me a little bit more. And admittedly, there's times when my mental health's a little bit more challenged. And it was like the other day, I felt really sad suddenly out of something when I left a social event, which was a great event. It was really good. Really enjoyed. I wasn't drinking or anything like that. Just went and chatted with some people, great bunch of people, and then went home. And I felt this real sense of loneliness in me. And I thought that was really interesting. So I just sat with it and explored it a little bit more. But that allowed me to see, actually, maybe I just need to give myself a little bit more love, a little bit more rest, because I've been a bit stressed recently. So spending time with you allows you to connect with you, I genuinely believe. And then the third one, linked to that, but have very honest conversations with yourself every single day, right? If you're not being honest with you, people can pick up on that. People will stop not trusting you. If you're like, oh yeah, if you're saying to yourself, I'm going to this career which is going to be good for me, but really you hate it, be honest with yourself. Don't lie to yourself because that's going to create pain, misery. I've done things in the past which made me really, really miserable, and I've had to come to a point, particularly in the last 2 years, when I have to be really honest with myself. I'm like, that's not serving me. That doesn't feel good, even though I might have to make a little bit of a shift in something. So that's the third one. Be very honest with yourself every single day. Okay, now my extra point I really want to emphasize, I kind of touched on it a little bit earlier, but it's get decent coach or mentor, because a decent coach or mentor is not going to allow you to like kind of sugarcoat stuff or lie. They're really going to challenge you. They're going to pick up on things. So get yourself a decent coach or mentor. They'll be able to really call you out for stuff. All right. They're, particularly if you're online, they'll be able to tell you of facial expressions and all those kind of things. So that's what I got for you today. I appreciate you for being here. You improve other people's lives by being the best you. And remember, you are in control of your own self-esteem and confidence.